The best way to get rich now, I feel like, is to like hop around companies and just stack equity like while you'd make like 300K
the surest way to
like
get
that
rich.
is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Like if you could figure out how to put yourself in that position, which I did not do early on in my life, so I had to do other things instead.
These people are owners in the sense that they get stock.
Yeah,
that's the critical
but
component.
that won't ever get you to 100 million. That'll get you to like
it'll get you to 10.
A very comfortable
some
life.
people
It'll get you
to
to
100 million. Some people get lucky.
If their company gets really,
I mean, you get a very comfortable life that way, no question.
yeah.
I mean, that's my whole thing is like, if I had to redo it, rerun it back, I wish someone would have told me when I was like 19, like, hey, you don't have to create your own company. You can just hop on someone's rocket ship after all the risk is kind of gone away. They've got product market fit. They're growing like 50% year over year. Maybe, I think the best stage is like
Pre-Series A.
Maybe. I was actually thinking more like
For the
2
maximum
years before
upside.
IPO. Yeah, maximum upside. I agree.
Upside.
But I think like the surest way is 2 years before IPO or even after IPO. Like Google, post IPO, you would just
Dude, like think about all the Nvidia employees
exactly.
just printing.
Now they weren't printing for a long while, and it just
They couldn't keep people because everyone was too rich.
Right.
Recently, in the last few years.
So
Yeah, it's a funny problem. Yeah, so all the janitors left because they're all worth $8 million.
like I think you're right. There's probably like a 99% founder mortality rate, and so you can potentially have massive upside with no risk. Like you're saying, making several $100,000 a year. I came up with a list of companies that like right now to me fit that. Databricks, probably sub 2 years from going IPO. Stripe, Klarna, CoreWeave just went.
I was going to say CoreWeave.
Anduril, probably not close to IPO, or maybe they won't ever, but like they might have some liquidity events.
Great
Canva, private company, scaling. Circle,
Yeah.
printing cash.
Yep.
Rippling is like a HR software. Coinbase, I still think they're known for just like shoveling out compensation.
Less now.
Or stock-based
Less
compensation.
now,
Okay.
thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully they kind of toned that back. But like if you would have got in a couple years after the IPO, you're just going to rain down on stock-based compensation. OpenAI, I don't know. I mean, I think that's still a good chance. We had a friend also named Nick who's kind of like on this path that we're talking about, and he was open to going to OpenAI after going from Google and other places. Cursor, any robotic company. I mean, I think that, man, if you can get on there, and the best part of it is that the easiest path is typically like sales, which doesn't really require any sort of like
Technical background
or academic training. You just got to like be willing to learn and be open to working on yourself, personal development. And you might have to start your brother who's at Databricks and our friend Nick, they started, smiling and dialing, in a cubicle, taking, internal type sales. And then eventually they just graduated like, here's our 5 biggest accounts. And you're just going to make probably like $300,000-$400,000 a year. And you're going to have some targets and you'll make more money if you hit the targets. And then we're going to just give you, 50% of your comp and stock-based compensation. And you're just going to rack up equity, or if pre-IPO, RSUs. We had a friend who lives in New York who worked at early on in Lyft. He just stacked up RSUs and then they went public and, he was able to kind of cash them in. So I don't know. I feel like that is the surest way to financial freedom. It's not 50 million.
And with him in particular, he was that like post-seed, pre-Series A spot that I'm talking about.
He was top 10
became very
employee.
Rich as a result of it, So, yeah.
I mean, dude, sales is like the GOAT career. It's got to be like one of the most AI-proof
enterprise
things,
sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a
people don't want to do it.
People do. Yeah, most people are bad at it.
Mm-hmm. All the nerds don't want to do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're stuck in the sales engineer position while you're in the like actual salesperson role.
Yeah.
We know some of those too.
And the demise of that person is to accept a sales manager role, Like,
that's
you got to
even worse.
stay in the
rainmaker
pure
role.
sales.
You got to be the
role
rainmaker
what you
and
kill.
get the best territory or the best accounts enterprise sales. Like if you can be at one of these companies and just
I created key
accounts.
a little like grid.
I mean, that was my life until I left it.
Yeah, I know. You were at 3M initially, right?
3M and then Google.
And
Same
Google.
thing.
Yeah, same.
Well, I moved out of sales when I got to Google, but I know that world.
Wait, you know what this whole thing is like to me? So the problem with this discussion is that your sample size of life is like 1, right? Like if I had a sample size of life of like 100, like I could live like 100 lives and like live through all of them, then I might swing for the fences. But like you get 1, so it's like it's analogous to this. Like if I offered you this like thing here, where I was like, okay, Nick, you can choose 2 options. I can give you $10 million, or I can flip a coin, and 50% of the time I'll give you $200 million, or you get nothing. Most people would just take the $10 million.
Do I have $10 million already?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
then I take the $10 million.
You're at the point when you would be embarking on this. I'm going to start the journey of like grinding my way to like $100 million, right? Like most people would just take the 10 mil. But that's kind of what this is like. You're like taking like a sure path to basically get to 10 mil. Like, and I think if you do these things, like you can basically guarantee in your life, if you work hard, that you get to $10 million. Or you do this high variance route and maybe you get to $1 billion, but maybe you crash and burn and do all this other stuff, and your life, like you give away all these other things trying to get there.
Yeah. And there's like optimizing things around this path. So I had a friend, Derek, he was early on in Uber. He helped set up like the operations for UberX, and he was very close with Travis. So he racked up stock, right? So he got in a good company at the right time. And then what he always did, even though he wasn't looking for a job, he was constantly interviewing. Constantly. He was like knew all the recruiters, and he would just go, and he's like, it's the best way to network. I meet CEOs, I meet hiring managers, and then sooner or later he just get a job offer that was like so compelling at the next hottest startup that's in that stage of like Series A, Series B. He's going to get a fuck ton of stock-based compensation, and he can negotiate it because he wasn't trying to leave. And he probably went like 3, 4, maybe 5 startups, like you said, collected equity along the whole way, took $0 risk. You know, was he stressed out during his job? Yeah, he was put in like high pressure operating roles, but still, like he was getting paid above average salary the entire time, and he's just like collecting the equity as it starts to like liquidate now.
So would you guys recommend that strategy for anybody? Even if you're not working at Uber, you're just like constantly interviewing? Is that just like the strategy?
Probably. I think so. Like obviously if you have pedigree, in this case, Uber is pedigree because it was kind of like the fast growing company of the time. But if you can go work at a Facebook or a Google, even as like a customer service rep, like
Just put that on the resume.
you have pedigree, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I know a guy who is a professional like interviewer,
Okay.
and he'll do the interviews, get offers, and then either jump and like double his income or utilize that to get a raise. And he just does that. He literally has like a spreadsheet going of like he's always interviewing. Always interviewing. Even when he's happy with his job, he's always interviewing.
Like a nightmare for a business owner.
Exactly. And like you look at I think there's like some economic data that shows like job switching. And when the job switchers are the people who earn the most money. I hope none of my employees are listening to this, by the way. Yeah. Can they hear?
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do.
But yeah, I mean that's like an easy win.
Job switchers. And we talked a lot about sales, but obviously if you have interest in the technical world, like being an engineer that's what's going to make you the most money. Like $600K per year, pretty much guaranteed working for one of these big companies.
All like everything
Senior
all in,
engineer.
right?
For the
Like,
next
all
2
in.
years until you're replaced.
I think if you maintain your position as a top 1% engineer, you'll be fine for the next 10. But yeah, it's going to get messy. Maybe less than 10. Maybe like by 2032, like we talked about last time.
We're all going to be dead by then. So
we went over that last pod.
But you have 7 years.
This whole conversation is moot.
You have 7 years
spending it all in the next 5 years
to get very rich. So